Well, we're facing the holidays here at the end of this week. Next week is Christmas and all of the wonderful family get-togethers, and I do trust that God will just bless in a very special way your time this coming week. Sometimes Christmas time is a hard time because you've lost loved ones, or there's some tension in family, or you've got lost family that will be with you, that will put you under pressure. And I just want to encourage you, God will be able to more than enough meet your needs. But you really got to trust the Lord and make sure that there is not any bitterness or any problem in your life that's going to cause you not to have the power of God to be able to respond right. And that leads me to a verse that we're very familiar with. And it follows on the heels of verse 17 of Ephesians chapter 5. Wherefore, be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. And here's the will of the Lord. And be not drunk with wine, whereas in excess, but be filled with the Spirit. Now that's really in some ways a strange verse, because you talk about two opposites, polar opposites. You have drinking and being intoxicated, and then being filled with the Spirit. But drinking is how people cope. Being under the influence of drink is how they make it. And he says, don't be coping and escaping into drink and what the world does, but instead be controlled, be under the influence of the Spirit of God. And it goes into the tremendous verses on being thankful and not being bitter, and speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, and then having a submissive attitude toward the roles that God has given you in your life, in your marriage, in your family, on the job. Just a tremendous passage. But be filled with the Spirit is so key. Now, you may not be tempted to be involved in the reveling that's going to be going on in most of the world, and there's even more going on with all the pressures that we're under. But very easily, this Christmas time can be a time of escape rather than spirit empowerment. Yes, we may be facing some hard things, some pressures, but we need to believe that God, during these uniquely different days over this next week, can enable us to really make the most of them. That these can be days of great eternal consequences for our own immediate family. We can be strengthened in our relationships with our extended family, maybe that are lost. We can have a great witness with them. People on the job, opportunities to witness outside of people that we know, and many, many things we could bring up. If we're filled with the Spirit of God knows how to make these next days divine appointments that will be so encouraging, even if you're under the weight of some major issues in your life. Christmas ought to be a glorious time because of what it means and because of the opportunity we have to invest ourselves in the lives of others. So on this weekend, before we get into the Christmas week itself, I want to encourage you, ask yourself, are you just sort of floating along? Are you just, trying to do the best you can? Or are you walking with God? Are you filled with the Spirit? Are you seeing divine intervention in your life? If you're floating along, this could be a rough week. But if you're controlled by the Spirit and very much spending time with Him and serious about God working in your life, this could be a glorious week of divine impact that could make a difference in your family. We need to invest ourselves in one another. We need to meet the needs of one another. The love of Christ needs to be seen. We don't even realize all that God could do. And so may God use this weekend as we're with the people of God and as we're preparing our hearts to give us a week of just wonderful eternal blessing.